Hello, I'm Timothy Sullivan. Today we're going to be talking about premium sake. Today's video is sponsored by JETRO New York and JFOODO. These are Japanese government organizations that promote sake internationally. We're going to be talking about Japanese sake trends. These are interesting new developments in the Japanese sake industry that are coming over here to the States. Today we're going to explore sake and we're enjoying it at home. So the first sake I'd like to start out with is something that may surprise you. We're going to be first tasting a sparkling sake. Now this may be very different from sparkling sakes you've had in the past. What we have here is a premium sparkling sake. And this is made using a secondary in-bottle fermentation. That means we create the bubble, we create the sparkle all naturally. The sake we have here is Hakkaisan Awa, which is a sake from Niigata Prefecture. Now this sake has a very, very gentle sweetness, a light melon aroma, but a very clean finish. And when you're enjoying sake at home, as I am today, let's take a look at some of the snacks we could enjoy with this sparkling sake. Now my eye is immediately drawn to these potato chips. They have a very, very gentle saltiness to them and a very crisp texture. That's fantastic. The really crisp, bright bubbles cleanse your palate. And it's a wonderful sweet and salty pairing that I know you're gonna love. So please give it a try at home. Now let's look at another exciting sake trend coming out of Japan. Have you ever heard of yuzu? Yuzu is a type of Japanese citrus. You can kind of think of it like a Japanese lemon. And there's some innovative brewers in Japan that are taking this citrus and they're actually soaking it in premium sake. And this creates something that we call yuzu-shu or yuzu sake. Now I have a great example of that here. This is from the Shibata Brewery in Aichi. And this is their Shibata Black Yuzu. And if you look at this bottle, you'll notice right away that there's a few things unique about this. First of all, they're using a modern flask design for this bottle. And also you'll see there's no Japanese writing on the label. This makes it approachable and easy for people outside of Japan to read and understand. Now the maker of this sake is one of the few female master brewers in Japan, and the only master brewer that's a female who's making sake in Aichi Prefecture, where this sake comes from. Now yuzu is going to give this sake a very bright, lightly acidic taste. Think a little bit like very special lemonade. So here we have the Shibata Black Yuzu Sake. And when I look at the foods I have here, one thing that I really want to try this with is a delicious piece of lemon cheesecake. The delicious and crisp citrus flavors in the yuzu sake meld beautifully with the lemon in this cheesecake. It's a wonderful pairing. Really bright, crisp, a little bit of acidity, and very surprising to pair sake with dessert. Now another really exciting trend coming out of Japan is what we call futsushu sake. Now futsushu normally means just regular everyday drinking sake. But what's been happening is that many producers in Japan are producing a higher level, leveling up their quality when it comes to futsushu. I'd like to introduce you to a great example of this upgraded futsushu. What we have here is Kirinzan Classic. This is a very high quality futsushu from Niigata, Japan. When people think of futsushu, they very often think of less expensive sake served very, very warm. And I would encourage you to absolutely try futsushu warm. But when you get a hold of these new versions that have a more premium edge to them, there's a really wonderful way to enjoy them at home. Now you may have seen these at Japanese restaurants. This is what we call a tokuri, and we can use this at home to warm sake. Now the way we do that is we fill this carafe about 80% full with sake, and then we have a pan with steaming water. And you just set the carafe into the water and let it warm for 5 or 6 minutes. That's gently going to warm the carafe first and then the sake. When you take it out, you can use a sake cup at home to enjoy your warm sake. I have an example here of what we call a guinomi. Now that's a fancy word for a ceramic sake cup. This is a little bit larger and designed specifically for warm sake. When you warm a sake, you're going to bring out more velvety texture and really boost the aromatics as well. When it comes to food pairing at home, you can really let your imagination go wild and enjoy many types of snacks with warm sake. With my spread here, I'm eyeing particularly these cashew nuts. Now cashews are known for being very rich and creamy and a little bit salty. And I think that's going to pair wonderfully with the velvety texture of this warm sake. So let's give this pairing a try. So good. The sake served warm is very, very comforting, very gentle, very, very nice koji aromas. And the nuts have that creamy texture and just that hint of salt. It pairs beautifully. This is a wonderful and very casual way to enjoy futsushu sake at home. Now, a final trend we're going to look at is what we call koshu. Now, this is sake that is aged on purpose, generally 3 years or longer. Now, traditionally, koshu has been aged at room temperature. And when you pour a koshu into your glass, it looks a little bit like a sherry. It might be a little dark brown, a little bit nutty in flavor. But there are new exciting styles of koshu coming from Japan. The big difference is that brewers have experimented with aging koshu at very low temperatures, almost freezing temperatures. What that does is it keeps the sake from oxidizing, and it will not allow the sake to change color as quickly. Aging 3, 4, or even 5 years under these freezing conditions will concentrate the flavor, but it will give it a very clear appearance in the glass. It's absolutely delicious. I hope you'll keep your eye out for these koshu sakes coming from Japan. I think in the coming years, we're going to see a lot more of these premium aged sakes. I really want to thank you for joining me today for this food and sake pairing. I hope you've enjoyed these trends, and please look out for these sakes in your local retailer. Be sure to enjoy sake at home with your friends and family. I hope you'll enjoy.